Go.
Hey, welcome, guys. Another episode of Tech Trends. Today, we're going to be talking about AI, which we like to talk about. There's this new face generator. Have you heard about it?
Oh yeah, man. I was looking into that stuff. It was crazy. It was really, really crazy at what I found. This face generating app, not app, but website actually generates random people's faces. You know, it automatically does some kind of algorithm and stuff like that. I was like, whoa. And you could actually even buy them. I was like freaking out. And like, you could buy a fake person's image.
Yeah, it has a lot of implications about, I don't know. If they can, I don't know. I mean, you could do it with making fake, taking people's faces and already doing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But there'd be more and more gray area about like if you're using someone's fake face, whether you're doing like malicious things on like Facebook or something, and trying to pretend you're somebody. Of course, if you're trying to like fish for information, that's always illegal. But like, I don't know, like messing around with people with like false dating and other kind of things, and it's just kind of scary because then you're like, okay, are you dealing with a human being? There, I don't know, like, where's the legality, right?
Correct.
Like if a company wants to pretend like, and well, when we also say with like just AI, with AI audio, right? Right now, it's not probably that great where you're talking to an AI, but eventually, if they could make it so it sounds like you're actually not talking to an AI, and they can make it look like you're not visually you're not talking to an AI.
Yeah,
that's kind of like messed up for like business practices of like getting tech support or something.
Yeah, since you bring up like website, like online dating and stuff like that. This is kind of a crazy deal. You're never gonna know if this person's a real person or not, and or a Facebook media, and stuff like that. Like people stealing people's faces and pictures and stuff like that online. And I think this is a new thing that might end up causing more problems in either relationships or and so many other to a whole different level.
Yeah, I don't know when it's gonna like become that, but it could get to the point where you're like, okay, we'll talk to each other for like 5 minutes, and we won't get into really like huge details, and we're gonna set up a date, and we're gonna then you go in person because you can't trust that anything you're doing online is real, and you don't want to give away personal information.
Correct.
So I like the idea of online dating because, it takes a long time to find somebody that you think you're compatible with. And so now you can just use it for like criteria, and then don't talk too long online because you just don't want something in writing or something that could be recorded.
Correct. And that's not all. It could also lead to suspicious behaviors, to criminals, sexual predators,
Yeah, just getting getting a few pieces of information.
Correct. Even identity theft, man, like giving your credit card out, and a lot. It just, the list could keep going on. This is a whole new ball game that these people are stepping up into.
Yeah, it's the cool part. Where's the cool part? The cool part is like, it's like, okay, well, if we haven't been able to do it before, why not do it? Like, why not like do something, revolutionary that we've never done before? And I guess there's some really good applications for it. You're like, okay, well, maybe, okay, this is bad. Okay, it's good and bad.
Go for it.
The idea that like there's underrepresented populations for educators, right? You're like, well, what if they have this AI that looks human? Educate. You know what I mean? Like if AI got that smart where it could educate you on a topic, then you're like, okay, well, what if like, especially with the global problem right now, right? You're like, okay, well, you can have an educator that looks like you, and maybe that motivates humans to new heights that they never, I mean? I don't know, you know what I mean? I've been saying like, they say like, if the AI can fool you to be like inspired, then maybe they can inspire, like, you seem like you're like more in tune with that educator, and so therefore you perform better. It's like an expectations game and a like a validation thing. you know? So they're saying, okay, well, if there's not, there's underrepresented populations for educators. And the idea is, okay, let's spend more money to do that, right? The malevolent part would be like, okay, since we're going to replace all human beings with AI, now we can serve this this population that, was already unrepresented. So we can put money into this AI. But if you're like, okay, you put money into the AI, I guess are you saying it's cheaper to put money into the AI than it is to put people into real educators?
Correct.
And that's the argument of like, okay, well, you're going to replace like the workforce at like UPS or somewhere with AI and stuff like that. And it's just the whole AI versus human argument.
But the company that developed this, was this a U.S. company or was it outside of the outside? Do you remember, Joe?
Well, I know
they didn't say.
I don't think it said, but there are different. I mean, everybody's competing for this. This is a global thing, like everybody's like has their own version of this, and so these different websites selling you different things, they're not all using like the same. Like they have different, formulas and different AI. But like what we were talking about is that they probably have like a huge database because you can just go on Facebook and you can see tons of images, or you can go on Google, right? Google Images. You can get tons of human faces to have AI look at it and then make combinations of human faces and stuff that are completely new. And so if you have the AI technology, you don't have to put a lot of money into like the data to collect it because it's all there.
Correct. That's true. Yeah. Or hopefully that Google then sell our photos to another company and actually used it to do face recognition.
Yeah. And I guess some people thought that because Google recently limited your data, your limit on
storage.
photos, your storage. Somebody might argue that was because, you can't have YouTube allows you to have like endless videos, right?
Correct.
And so you're kind of wondering why not endless photos. So maybe because photos can't be monetized, like there's no like when you're looking at your photo, you're not necessarily like Google Photos. You're not looking at it like an ad right next to it.
Correct.
So maybe it's a money thing.
Could be.
But otherwise, some people are like, okay, well, using any of these things, are you like giving your rights away to a lot of it?
Correct.
Because when millions and millions of people use, a platform, you're like, okay, well, prove it. Prove that I used all your data to perfect my AI, or like I'm making money off of your AI. Like you have to provide the evidence in a court case, to say that, that there was something wrong going on,
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to prove that stuff.
Yeah. So yeah. Kind of interesting, kind of the cool thing would be like creating an AI that you can customize, that you can go to these websites and you can look at it. You can make you can do a sliding scale. You can make the AI look younger, older, a different ethnicity, a different gender, a lot of different things you can do with the face. And this was the idea about like, avatar, like creating an avatar for like a video game and having that face be put onto your character. That's been like kind of the idea for a while. Some people wanted that so that you don't always look at the same soldier face.
Correct.
Or the same like World of Warcraft character or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot more variation. So the positive is that it gives us more variety, that they're able to like come up with combinations that never existed before. And then we said, right, like how do we know that these people don't exist? Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like nobody's showing us a database of everybody on the planet and saying, hey, this correlates with this person. Like, where's my like reference point?
Correct. And also too, I did link for this AI face generator in the description. So if you want to go take a look at that, feel free to do so. It's a very interesting AI system. So go check if you want to check it out. Check it out after the podcast, and you just enjoy seeing what this AI generating things could do and steal people's identity.
Oh yeah, and that's how okay. Let's go back to the positives. The positives are they use like this kind of generator to help find lost people.
True. Oh, that's right. I forgot about
Because
that.
you age them, and then if they can get that more, they can't account for every genetic or environmental change, but they can get more accurate aging people.
Correct.
Then you can find them a little bit easier. And then of course, if you do like the whole Minority Report, where you have like cameras everywhere, and they're out in public, and then they recognize the facial recognition because you properly aged them or whatever, right? Then maybe if they were under like duress and didn't feel like they've been like kind of like, what is it called, like where you have like sympathy for the captor. There's some term where you're Stockholm syndrome, where you basically like you're falling in love or like have compassion for the person who kidnapped you.
Oh wow.
So that the idea is that like these people like they sometimes like some people are like they, I mean, so that I'm not sure how much that actually happens, but the idea is though that like this would help you find for good or for bad. Like you could find criminals that have been escaping the system for 20 years, and then they age them by 20 years to help find them.
That's pretty dope.
So
I didn't think about that positive right there, Joe. That was like whew.
Well, that was me like doing a 180 because like I usually am negative on this stuff. So there are some positive things.
That's good, man.
It's always
really
like
good.
Yeah, it's always like, Pandora's box. You open something up and it can be used for good or bad, like sugar, right? We know a lot more about sugar. You have like really bad sugary foods, or you can use sugar to help somebody who had like a hypoglycemic event. You can use sugar in a positive way and save somebody's life. So
yeah,
knowledge is power.
It is.
So go to the next topic. You know a little bit more about this than I do, but we've kind of like caught each other up a little bit. IPv6 is now the standard for federal agencies.
Correct.
It's not being used heavily at the moment, but they have milestones. They want to move it to away from IPv4 because they've ran out of space.
Correct.
So there's only 20%. They want to move to 20% of it onto IPv6 by 2023. So about 3 years from now. And then by 1 year later, they want to increase it from 20% to 50%. And then 1 year after that, they want to increase from 50 to 80.
Correct. It's because a lot of the stuff we're running out of IP addresses because we're using numerous backups and IP and stuff like that just to actually keep our businesses open. That's the reason we're running out. Just giving you a little captive, if you like, not captive, a little bit of information here for you guys. So if you want to know what IPv4, why it's like that, yeah, you can let us know in the comments. We'll give you a little more description. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll be glad to help give you more information on that. But we are moving to IPv6. I don't know if you looked at your phone or your tablets or whatever you have. We are connected using IPv6 outside globally right now. It's really implemented at this moment. You just probably never really realized that.
You said there was something about like security. The difference.
There's a lot more stuff out there.
Are they is it as secure?
It's almost still the same. The only secure is just like you're never gonna know whose IP you're gonna be reaching because it's all global versus IPv4. IPv4, like you type in I hope if y'all are network guys, you understand what I'm talking about. If you're using a 192 address, a private one for your home or 10 dot whatever in a business, you can't just use that and actually get into somebody's computer. You actually have to know the public IP address in order to get into the business or into something in order to get all the information off of it. So IPv4 translation between IPv6 to public to private IPv4. That's a little bit more sophisticated there. But if you use IPv6 if IPv6 is everything just open, like everything is just right outside, and you're using your firewall, you're using whatever you're using to actually subnet it, unless you're using I don't know how it's working in businesses IPv6. I was supposed to study that, but I didn't study that chapter on how it works. It's going to be implemented in a business environment and a public. I don't know if it's 100% about that part. I just know I just know more about IPv4. I know IPv6 is something that I need to get more into, and it's a very big scale compared to IPv4. Remember we were talking about what did you just come up with? 4 point something?
Oh yeah, the scale is tremendous. Like IPv4 has about like 4.3 billion combinations, 4.38 or something, and yeah, the IPv6, sorry, has some crazy number. That's like,
it was something point unit something you said.
oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna look it up really quick, but yeah, it's way bigger. So you're like, it feels like you're never gonna run out of that.
Yeah, because a majority of people in the world have at least 2 or 3 devices per person per house. So you have maybe about 10 or 20 devices at home. So you got to think about that, like, and then also we're implementing the new 5G. We're going to be implementing the drones. I can't even say that. Apparently drones, we're going to be implementing that with delivery packages, food delivery. We're going to be doing all that, and into the future, possibly our future, maybe our lifetime, flying cars. They will be using that type of system, and also electric cars with Elon Musk's favorite, the Tesla cars. We're using the 5G network.
Yeah.
And
so I mean, that'd be pretty interesting. I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I
don't know.
I thought, like, personally, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be pretty noisy. I'm not sure how they're going to do like a silent version. If anybody has ever watched any military videos about like the Harriet jets or any of the where they take off vertically with jets and they go off, maybe they're quieter than I think. And also because a jet is really heavy, right? So maybe these cars are going to be a lot lighter, so the jets can be a lot quieter. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. That's the only way that I can imagine, is they're using jets to go up and then jets to move directions.
And those jets, and just ask, because I'm not too familiar with jets. So the jets actually do a vertical lift and then take off, or do they launch?
There's different ones. Well, basically, I think there's like multiple sets of jets, right? But the jets also were like adjustable. They could
really
move. Yeah.
So when the jets actually, before they take off, they could actually go down and they levitate up with jet propulsion, and then they twist in and they just take off.
Yeah, they might have additional ones for stabilizing, right? They might have some that are up behind for like starting the horizontal approach, so you take off vertically with some central ones, and then the ones in the back, they start moving, and then as you're moving, then the other ones change direction, so they're no longer vertical and then horizontal, so then you can even go faster. So there might be something like that.
And as to what I heard, that this is supposed to be using AI to actually navigate and use maps using over 5G to actually going back to our 5G. It's going to be using the 5G network to actually pinpoint its location and drive automatically to this destination over 5G while pinging its towers. I don't know too much about that, but that's what I've heard.
It's called there's a hover jet called the Lockheed Martin F-35B. It's $83 million, which can hover in place. But I know there was other ones where they were showing like, I used to follow this in like 2006-7 in high school, where they were talking about 4 different variations testing for the different military branches like Navy, Air Force, Army, and stuff. So that kind of stuff.
Yep, definitely.
And Yeah, I mean, again, those are really expensive. So maybe these are. Yeah, I don't know. Like how heavy do you think a jet is?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know much about jets, but man, I just know that they weigh a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what the current weight is, but
Okay, I
what is it?
just looked it up. Oh, never mind. That'd be like a commercial. Commercial would be 175,000. So I mean, you know how noisy those are.
Phew.
But you know, like a car is like 4,000. So a
Yeah,
lot
4,000
less.
5,000.
Yeah, 4,000 to 5,000. Yeah. So
Uh,
how much does a military jet cost? Oh wait. So
wait,
about
45,000.
45,000. Yeah, 45,000. So that's about 9 times heavier than a commercial vehicle for a car. So you
Yeah,
could think, I don't know, maybe maybe this hover technology, the jets, is actually like a tolerable level for like a car. I never
yeah,
thought about it in terms of this kind of scale, you know, because
yeah.
you know you're lifting off 9 times the weight, so of course the jets have to be a lot, you know, more powerful and louder. So I would just, that is fascinating. I want to see whenever they do this, like how
I'm kind of
loud the jets are.
and I'm kind of wondering how many people are gonna fit and all that stuff because I just heard that the liftoff is gonna be it drains the battery a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I know. How is he going to detect weight? Is it going to be on the system or is he going to detect it off through a remote site? That's the question I have. How is all this going to know? How is he going to know all this? Like how much pressure, how much all this is he going to be embedded on board or is it going to be embedded over the web?
Yeah. I would think on board. Um, I
With
don't know.
sensors?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, gosh, I wish I knew more about like how um current airliners do some AI, you know, some autopiloting. So some of it might be like, again, that's easier autopiloting because you're doing it way above traffic.
Correct.
So you're just like, you haven't like maybe like, I don't know how many airplanes in the air, like thousands. I'm not sure how many, but they're way high up there. So it's a lot less than like having, let's say, 500,000 vehicles in the air.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
you know, think about it. If they have to get the AI good enough so that it's safe enough and that whatever, but it's kind of interesting. If you could get the rich people to go up in the air and fly around, well, then there's a lot more space on the rest of the ground for the rest of us.
Correct.
So don't envy the people who are flying in the air. Just think, you know, you're spending a lot less on the ground, and it's safer because they're up there, and maybe they're, I don't know, maybe they're crazier drivers. I don't know.
Maybe I'll probably be one of
Oh
those guys up there wrecking into buildings
yeah, taking
because
the
you got
AI or something,
yeah,
or like, I don't know.
you got to remember these AI systems is actually going to run automatically, so you're not going to drive anymore.
No, yeah, I forgot about that. That kind of puts a buzzkill on what I was thinking, but no, yeah, makes sense.
Sorry for the buzzkill.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, but you know, there might be. I don't know if there's any. If they're like, okay, well, no, maybe, you know, just like flying a plane, you could get a license, and maybe you could a license to fly a car on your own.
Oh, that's right too, Joe. That the IPv4 IPv6 also and IPv4 runs off on airlines too. I don't know if you knew that you could actually have Wi-Fi now on the airlines.
Yeah, because wasn't that the argument that they were always like, you have to turn your phone off.
Yeah, now they prove that it's never really interfered.
It's like, why did they even say that if there was never any
There
evidence?
was yeah, it was
They're just
nothing.
like, it's just like, it was just like fear
Yeah, it was
and
a frame that.
control, and
Yep,
maybe they're like, that makes you have to buy our online movies, our you know, the films that you can pay for.
yeah,
Now you can do whatever you want to do.
correct. You getting more
But
freedom, more
yeah,
freedom.
no more monopoly on what you get to watch and communicate with.
Correct. Definitely.
But then some other people say like that there's added security features for IPv6.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that part.
Yeah, I don't really know about it, but this is they're saying, the Department of Commerce, they're saying that most of the breaches are due to human error. But if there's human error in shoddy engineering, and phishing links or poor patching, it's like, well, does that happen more with IPv6 versus IPv4? If it does,
Correct.
well, then it is less secure.
Yeah,
like, you can't just say that because that stuff happens, it's still secure. It's like, well, does that happen? Yeah, the same or more?
I personally think that it's less secure because you're getting the IP address from the outside world, not from an inside, not from like a DHCP or DNS server. You have, well, actually DHCP server. You're not getting that from that anymore. If you're going public, unless your ISP provides you a certain range, that's all you can get.
Yeah,
because you got to remember IPv4 is privately. It's you get to get whatever subnet you want. You can break it down to however you want it and all that crazy stuff within your network. So how would it work with IPv6? And how would you how would you like restrict it on through the firewall and stuff like that? I haven't messed with the firewall in a while. I messed with it on IPv4, not IPv6. So I'm kind of curious on how they're going to defend that.
Yeah, this is a blind spot for me. My brother deals with networking a lot more. He networked our home, and then he's done a lot of. You and him could have a conversation about this.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just not there. But yeah, so guys, it's just interesting that we're moving there. There's so many more combinations, and so they have a mission. Like 80% by 2025.
Correct.
That's a lot.
And also, too, guys, just like, if we're ever wrong with anything we say, hey, feel free to comment in the comments or in the description and let us know if we said something wrong, and just kind of like give us a correct approach on what we need to what we said wrong and how we could improve it. Right, Joe?
Yep, for sure.
We take feedback from everybody. I'm not smart, Joe. We're not both of us are not that smart in every single field in the industry, because tech is so broad and it changes. Today could be one way, tomorrow could be totally different.
Yep. It's very expansive. Our next topic takes us across the ocean. So it takes us to Austria. It says a court ruling in Austria could censor the internet worldwide. Isn't that
interesting?
Yeah.
What part are they censoring? Are they censoring the corrupted parts of the internet? Are they blocking the dark web? They're so mysterious of that. What are they blocking?
Well, it starts out with like a Facebook post.
Facebook post.
Yeah.
Just one little thing.
Yeah, it was a 2016 Facebook post where a user shared an article featuring a photo of Eva Glauischnig-Piszczek, then chair of Austria's Green Party. And then there's a commentary labeling her a lousy traitor, a corrupt oaf, and a member of a certain party. In response to immigration. So the idea is that that this is protected speech in the United States, but it's defamation in Austrian.
Wow.
Austria, sorry. And yeah, the rulings in the Austrian courts order that Facebook should take down and keep off any such post, and do so around the world.
Interesting.
So they say that Facebook complied, but only in part, employing what is known as geo-blocking. It made the particular post identified as inaccessible to users within Austria, which is what they've done in China, right?
Correct.
A lot of these companies, these tech companies, have like really shunted their 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 programs in countries that don't have a lot of free speech. But it did have resistance and objected to the global reach of the the order. And yeah. So what do you think?
I think it's kind of silly. I really do think it's silly. Everything should just be available for anybody, but I don't know how much information was left out of this article on what really happened.
Yeah,
I can't say I couldn't say much on it. Because here in America, pretty much everybody says whatever they want, and then their life gets ruined. Like, there's been several sites here in the U.S. that they actually taken down because of how much harassment has done. If this is going to be an issue, then just report the post, delete it, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's all. I think that's all that should be happening. Not like censoring the whole net. If you're going to be censoring the net, might should censor it from the darkness that's out there, and that area should be blocked. Like all the hacking, all the virus stuff, all the, all that spyware, adware, all that stuff should be censored. Certain foreign countries should actually be blocked on that part.
Yep. And the fear is that the Austrian court precedent, has courts in any jurisdiction would be more or less free to apply their local laws to compel not just local but global takedowns of posts. It's just the idea that this is could spread by wildfire.
Correct. It might start something
that a country like Austria, you wouldn't think that that there'd be I don't know. We hear stories about England and other countries about how their defamation laws are different, and I think that in England, they're actually freer in some ways. They can say more things than are here,
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I thought. Like they're saying, the British press are pretty, the paparazzi are pretty fierce in their speculation. I don't know. I'm not too versed with Europe or other other
countries.
Well, other medias and countries. Yeah.
Media.
So yeah, the idea is kind of scary that each country basically is kind of opting out of communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's all be our own bubble. It's only positive thoughts coming into your country versus anything that you disagree with.
Yep. Definitely.
So, yeah, I just think it's going in the wrong direction, because then you're basically saying well, if I value free speech heavily, then maybe I won't, I don't know. Am I just hearing an echo chamber that I'm only hearing within the country, in my own country? And then are you really communicating? Is there really communication worldwide? If everything you're if different countries have different cultures about what should be censored.
Correct.
You're basically saying I'm censoring your culture.
Yeah.
Your culture can't come in here, which is really ethnocentric, and from the opposite point of view, versus saying it's good to prevent things that maybe are negative for your culture.
True.
And the internet's been the sharing of ideas. It's it's a relatively new thing.
And also, like you said, helping out. It's also helped a lot of collaboration, and with this human malware too is going on, it's helped out a lot too. If you start censoring things, it might actually cause some kind of downfall in the economy.
Yep.
Who knows how far it could go down?
Yeah. So, our last topic is about consumerism in the around Thanksgiving. Yeah. So about how the PS5 and the Xbox Series might not be as available as people hope for sales. And this is
Really?
typical. Yeah, it's typical of like every launch, but you know, it's just again it goes into what we thought about like how NVIDIA and AMD GPUs are less available than normal. Scalpers are really taking advantage of it, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
like the robots are they try to like counteract it, but the robots that buy these consoles up are just they're really good.
Yep.
And so you see really heavily inflated prices on eBay.
Oof.
So yeah, so
What?
I don't know. If you think about it, like Black Friday sales, unless they're in person, that's a good thing. Especially with the global problem that we're all dealing with. The way you counteract a lot of this is like having in-person Black Friday sales.
Yep.
But there's probably a lot less of that now.
Yeah, definitely.
Depending on where you are, how severe the global problem is, it might just be all online, and then the robots have, all these are again appearing on eBay for like exorbitant prices, and eventually they have to come down, but that might not be for several months to a year.
Correct. Like right now, I'm looking at online on eBay, and you have a PS5 for almost $2,000.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like 500 or 600.
500, 600, but I think the most expensive one is like 1,000 or maybe a little under 1,000, depending if you get the special edition one.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't cost you like $2,000 for an PS5. Like, come on,
yeah.
Common sense here.
Yeah, one idea would be you say, okay, well, these big tech companies, they make tons of money, right? They make billions of dollars, right? The other argument is now the consumer who buys these products are now trying to scalp them and make some money off of that too, right? And are these scalpers, like, how rich are these scalpers? Maybe they're just like the average person who's like, I'm gonna like charge it on my credit card or something, and they may or may not hit gold.
Yeah, definitely.
People just, it's kind of like gambling. Like, can you at least sell it? Like, it's kind of like, it's almost like gambling with like very little risk, because you're like, okay, maybe I can get like $100 or $200, and I pay like, I don't know, what, $30 in shipping if it's in the US. But if it's a global, global auction, then you could probably rack that price up, and you could pay for international shipping then. So
yeah, definitely.
what's the highest? Would you ever buy a console more than its shipping price?
Nope. Never.
Nope. Yeah. I haven't bought a console in like 15 years. My brother has. He buys a lot of consoles. But I think he'd wait around. He'd wait around for a year or two until it got cheaper.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you ever go for any Black Friday sales?
Yeah, I used to.
What kind of sales did you like?
I've gone for what did I get last time I went? What did I get? I went to Black Friday and I forgot what I got. I think it was a necklace and stuff like that. That's all I went for. And then Walmart for a tablet for my little boy. That's all I've ever gone for. I've seen some prices gone down. That's what I went for.
Yeah, I've seen some sales recently where like, it's like you buy like a couch. There's like 25% Black Friday sales, which depending on how expensive that couch could be like $500 or more.
Yeah. I've never bought anything like that.
Yeah. My family was considering buying a couch like that, like a couch pull-out bed. But yeah, there's some decent sales out there.
Yeah.
It's like 2,100, and then when you take the price off, it could go down to like 1,600.
See, things like that I didn't know. I've never really checked out appliances. I've never checked that, but I think I need to start checking that out.
Yeah, and then Yeah, I don't know. I've never really participated in a lot of Black Fridays, because you're always like, they usually have them on sale on things that you don't want to buy. Like if you're really like
Correct.
picky and you're like, okay, well, I want something with a certain spec, and that's not going to have any sales. Yeah, right. That's me. That's you. It's everybody, right? It's like, I want my PS5, and I don't know. There's probably not a cut down version,
The one I want to get is a PS5 with the no drive.
Oh yeah, the online, the cloud.
Yeah, I want that one. You just download. All you do is download the game, and boom. I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about the disc messing up. I don't have to worry about nothing. Just download the game, and boom, there you go.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That you don't have to clutter your house.
Yeah, I know. I have a clutter here of games all over my wall with the PS3 and the Xbox. PS3 and the Xbox 360 I still got. Sorry guys, I am outdated. Don't bash me for a PS3 and a Xbox 360, guys, please.
Yeah, my brother has I have a decent amount of games, partly because he gifted me some, but yeah, when you can buy them digitally and you can store them on Steam,
Oh
gosh,
yeah,
you end up with hundreds of games over the years, and probably played some of them 10% or something, because you buy so many, and you're it's like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, I bought Borderlands 2, and I've only played it 5%.
Yeah,
I'm guilty.
It's like the game looks enticing, but life pulls you away.
Correct, and then you got to work, and you got all this stuff.
And you forget that it's even in your box, in your box of tools.
Yeah, definitely.
And then that spark is gone too. It's like, oh yeah, gosh. So yeah, guys, that's the last article for today. We're appreciative of all your support.
Yep, definitely.
And our giveaway is still going on. We have the $35 gift card. You can join that and show your support, and we can show you some support. And other than that, Renee, do you have anything else to add before we end today?
No, I don't. I'm glad that we actually have this podcast number 2026. We've been doing pretty good, guys, and thanks for supporting us. Make sure you check us out on Anchor, check us out on Google, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and all those other podcasts out there, man. Check us out on there. So if you can't catch us here on YouTube, check us out on there. We'll also get support there too. If you want to donate money, there's a little link in anchor.com. When you find us on the bottom of the podcast, you'll see a link. Click on that. You could also donate to us there too. Even we'll be doing donations here on Facebook, on YouTube actually shortly. So make sure to stick with us and support us along the way. If you don't want to support us cash, you can support us just by watching, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, I wanted to do a shout out really quick. That's okay.
Go for it.
On Anchor, we know our statistics about where our viewers are from. So a shout out to Washington State. You guys are our number one viewers on Anchor for our podcast. And then shout out to Virginia for second place. And then for the state of Ohio for third.
Yeah, congratulations, guys, states and cities out there that actually support us the most. So if you want to be a top state, man, you gotta push out our content, man. We appreciate that. We might be eventually doing giveaways on the podcast, but just stay tuned, guys. We might just do something special for you guys for one of these podcasts. So stay tuned.
Yep. Have a great week, guys. And enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Yep.